Hello everyone, this is so good to be part of this conference. I'm Negar, Sagharichi, a freelancer museum exhibition designer and a board member of ICOM-ICE, the International Committee for Exhibition and Exchange. First of all, I wanted to thank you, Archaeology, SCHG, and its partners for this opportunity. My topic is about the role of ITVs in interconnection between society and museums during the coronavirus pandemic in Iran. And more than sharing a scientific research, this presentation is about sharing a valuable experience that was a great cooperation between Iranian museums. Let's review together what had happened during the pandemic for museums. After the outbreak in many parts of the world, the quarantine began, and that led to the closure of museums. Many small private museums that mainly had survived by ticket selling and holding events were shut down. But others found a way to keep in touch with their audiences, and that was using social media and the opportunities that the new technology had given them. So where did the idea of this project come from? The last week of February 2020, the Iranian government officially announced the beginning of the first round of quarantine due to the outbreak of COVID-19. According to the protocol issued by the government, museums were classified as occupations that had to be closed. In recent years, Iranian museums have made great efforts to communicate and provide services to their domestic audiences, and the result was the visitors' trust, which was so important for the museums. Museums were now facing this challenge to lose this trust. And the challenge was huge because it was 2 weeks before the Persian New Year Nowruz, which was peak of the museum visits, and they had to find a way to reconnect with their audiences. How did it happen? Four directors of Iranian museums that are located in the museum zone in Tehran concluded that due to the increasing popularity of social media and ITVs and IPTVs among Iranians, the ITVs, internet TVs, could be a unique opportunity for maintaining the connection between museums and their audiences. In cooperation with the Ministry of Technology and Communication, a campaign was initiated using the hashtag #VisitsMuseumAtHome. So the campaign was promoted through various platforms, and later 9 additional museums joined this initiative, and ICOM Iran acted as a central hub connecting museums and relevant organizations. Before going further, let's see what exactly are ITVs. Since 1990s, when the world witnessed the growth and development of the World Wide Web, internet televisions have entered international communication. There are two types of internet TVs. First, internet TVs based on global internet with no specific rules and standards. Among the internet TVs in Iran, we can mention Aparat and the social network Instagram video sharing service known as IPTV. The second is Internet Protocol Television. IPTV is an intranet platform that is an internal and privately owned network, uses internet-related protocols and technology to convey the programs. They deliver everything over IP-based network, managed to provide the required quality of service and experience, security, interactivity, and reliability. Lens TV, Emiras, and Tiva are some of the IPTVs in Iran. So these TVs are accessible through mobiles and computers. People can spend time and have fun on them. They can achieve a variety of programs through them. Being interactive, comfort, and power of choice are some benefits of using ITVs and IPTVs, and all these reasons fit these platforms appropriate for museums usage. One of the first cooperation between ITVs and museums is Museum Channel FHD that launched on 1st of December 2010 in France and offered 10 virtual exhibitions over renewed artworks. The Western Australian Museum also has launched its IPTV named Free Zone, and another cooperation is between Dutch IPTV provider KPN and museums named Museum TV, which is so popular. So let's get back to our case study, staying at home. Finally, the New Year Nowruz arrived, and it was the time to launch the program. National Museum of Iran became the inaugural museum to host Iranian audiences virtually. This museum garnered the highest number of visits. Throughout the 13th day of Nowruz holiday period, the different museums was featured daily, broadcasting live and on various ITV and IPTVs from 5 to 6 p.m. This allowed audiences to embark on virtual museum visits, accompanied by insightful explanation from museum curators. During this 1 hour, museums showcased their treasures. Despite the time constraint, museum effectively captured the audience's attention through meticulous preparation and presenting captivating artworks. The program from each museum was simultaneously broadcasted on Aparat, ITV of Ministry of Information and Technology, Emiras, TIVA, and the official ICOM Iran and museums Instagram pages. So during the program recording, open questionnaires were conducted for the TV teams and museums representatives to gather insight on the processes and the obstacles faced during work at each museum. The focus was on identifying actions for further improvement and streamlining the work. What were the cons and pros of using the IPTVs and ITVs for museums? The pros were the ability to integrate these networks with the social pages of museums in cyberspace, make it possible to search museums programs over time through the internet, providing video services based on cyberspace and playing pictures and videos, computer-centric and mobile-centric access, and interactivity and reflection of ideas. And the cons were hard access to the custodian of ITVs and IPTVs, low internet speed in Iran, lack of sufficient and robust infrastructure in museums to connect to the network, time-consuming and overly strict monitoring of broadcasting programs produced by museums, information censorship, and finally website filtering. The research methods employed in the presented study included a combination of observational, qualitative, and quantitative approaches to comprehensively analyze the impact and effectiveness of utilizing ITVs and IPTVs to connect museums with the audiences during the current COVID-19 pandemic. To measure this effectiveness, this program was examined from two different aspects. The primary focus of this study was to analyze the variations in visitation numbers for each museum, comparing virtual visits to traditional in-person visits. To achieve this, data on the highest visitation numbers for each museum during the Nowruz days prior to the COVID-19 outbreak was gathered. Subsequently, the researcher obtained data on the viewership of each museum's virtual program through the vision platforms. Additionally, the researcher meticulously assessed the level of engagement and visits via Instagram. The yellow columns show the amount of in-person visits to a museum, and the blue columns show the amount of online visits during pandemic via ITVs and IPTVs in this picture. From the reviews of the first method, it is deduced that museums can be divided into two groups: large-size museums like the National Museum of Iran, the complexes like Negar and Sagharichi, and medium and small-size museums like Malik Museum and the Carpet Museum. Large-size museums faced a significant decline in online visits due to the appeal of their physical atmosphere and gardens, especially during this period, which is so beautiful. In contrast, smaller museums saw a notable surge in virtual audiences, alerting misconceptions about their popularity and subjects. The other focus of this study was to assess the extent of coverage of the effectiveness of each television. We recorded the number of meaningful visits to each television in every museum. We then compared the total percentage of views on each TV to the overall number of viewers and represented this comparison in the chart, which you can see here. The standout result was from TIVA Interactive TV, which garnered the highest viewership among participating ITVs and IPTVs with 71% of program views. The museum's official Instagram pages and IGTV accounted for 11% of views, while Aparat ITV and Emiras each had a 10% of share. TIVA's IGTV contributed 4% of views. Notably, the museums experienced a substantial increase in Instagram followers after this program. At the end, I would like to mention that the studies about this subject are scarce, and further research in this area could delve into various aspects, including analyzing program contents and assessing the necessary infrastructures within museums to effectively utilize these facilities. These emergence of new media is pivotal for the future museums, particularly when it comes to the younger generation who predominantly use smartphones and other digital devices. Hope you enjoyed the presentation, and thank you once more, Archaeology, Archaeology SCHG and its partners.